Teresa Walker.
Shea, welcome to Nashville. As you start diving into this program, how quickly might a turnaround come? I mean, do you see this as maybe being 2, 3, 4 years? I mean, do you have a tentative timeline for getting this program back to where it once was?
I just got here yesterday, right?
No pressure.
I'm joking. Of course, I mean, I would love for it to be sooner than later, but what I've learned over my career is that when you build something the right way, it might take a little bit of time, but it will last forever. And so that's what I plan to do. I'm not going to take any shortcuts, just like what Chancellor Dearmeyer said. We don't do that here at Vanderbilt, and I won't be doing that with our program. We're going to do it the right way. There will be bumps in the road, I'm sure, but I understand that I have complete support, and I feel that support, not only in our administration, but by the people I put around me when I hire staff, and by my players. We're all going to be pulling in the same direction, and that this kind of stuff isn't always unicorns and rainbows. It may look like that from the outside in, but a lot of hard work goes into it. And I know that if I want to build something, and we together want to build something great, then we have to trust that process and know that it might not be overnight. So would I like to have for it to happen sooner than later? Of course. And obviously that's my goal. Like Kenneth said, I don't like losing at all. So I don't plan to lose a lot. But I understand that sometimes you have to lose a little bit to win.
Simon Gibbs.
Hi, Shea. Congratulations. You and Candace both mentioned the history of success here. Obviously, the program has struggled a little bit in recent years, but there is a history of sustained success here. Was that an important characteristic in, whichever school you chose to be your first head coaching job? And why can that history help rebuild the program in the future?
Yes, it's a great question. I think that my answer to your question, because there's a lot of different ways I could go with this, but I would tell you that when I looked at this program and all that it had going for it, the history of success did stick out, because to me that lets me know that it can be done. And now, when you talk about all the investments that are being made, Vandy United, the academic side of it, which when you talk to players that want that, I can't coach that. I can't make Vanderbilt an elite university. That's here, that's what we have, and that's an amazing thing to have. It's very rare. I can help them on the court, but if they want both, there's only one place in the country they can do it, hopefully, in the end, and I'm excited about that. So yes, it shows that there's a history that can be repeated, but I'm hoping to even elevate it higher than that.
Robbie Weinstein.
Hi, Shea. Welcome to Nashville. I guess with the understanding that you just got here, I'm sure you've done your homework on the recent state of the program. What stands out to you as maybe the top items kind of on your immediate to-do list here?
I think that remains to be seen. When I'm looking at the program, I'm talking to the people, and like I told you guys before, I think it's going to start and end with people for me. That's how I operate in my life, and that's how I will operate in this program. So I need to get here, to settle in, to get to know my team, to get with them on the court, to understand what is it that we really need first and foremost. And to build trust with them, to be honest with you, is number one on my list. To build trust with my team, to build trust in our recruiting, to build trust with my staff. We all have to get here and dig in together. And then all the other stuff will take care of itself. Basketball is my comfort zone. I love being on the court. I love teaching the game. But I understand how much of a player's trust and how much they feel about you caring for them and their success means in terms of their ultimate success. So I need to make sure that I build that and that I take my time with it. And then all the other things, I'll make sure I have a great staff that can help teach, and we'll go up from there.
Chris Lee.
Hi, Shea. Welcome to Nashville. Your husband obviously was a part of the staff at Vanderbilt. I think for 6 years, he saw some winning, I know, in that time. I'm sure you talked to him about this job. What did he give you that was helpful in making your decision? He
said 2 words, no-brainer. That's what he said. And my husband, if you know him, he doesn't mince words. He tells me when I'm wrong all the time. He tells me when I make bad decisions, and he tells me what he thinks about decisions. But from the very beginning, he was fully supportive because he knows and believes in Vanderbilt University and understands what an opportunity this is.
Eric Dobratz.
Shea, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
You've been around Coach Auriemma, such a large part of your life. What will you bring with you from him as a coach, and how will you be different at Vanderbilt?
Great question. So I think that the greatest thing that I learned at Connecticut is what it takes to build and sustain eliteness. It's not easy to do. And if it were easy, you'd see a lot more programs doing it. I loved being part of that inner working environment, understanding what goes into it, the ups and downs of it, the years where we won a lot in a row and the years where we've lost a lot in a row. So I believe that that's the biggest thing that I'll bring with me, that I will understand and have an intimate knowledge of that not a lot of people have. What I won't bring, probably technical fouls, maybe. Maybe a few, but not a lot. And, I think I have just a different style in general, but that's not better or worse, good or bad. I think I'm just a little bit different than Coach. But obviously, he's taught me an incredible amount, and I wouldn't be able to be here and be in the position I am to pass that along to our young women if it weren't for him.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Kayla Anderson.
Welcome to Nashville, Coach. The SEC continues to grow in terms of conference and just the grind of the conference. How excited are you for the challenge of going up against these teams each and every night when you hit conference play?
I am really excited about that challenge. It is hands down, and I've thought for a long time, the best conference in the country. Day in and day out, you're battling, and I love a good battle. So, I'm sitting here telling you this now. If we don't show up in a battle, I might feel differently, but the plan is for that not to happen. But to be honest with you, I think in those really tough moments of adversity, that's when you grow. And so I'm really excited for our players that we'll have an opportunity to do that literally every day, literally every game. They're going to be challenged in ways that maybe they wouldn't see if we played in a different conference. So I know for me, the most growth I've had is when I've felt like I have nowhere to go but up, or I'm backed against a wall. That's when I've really grown. And so I'm excited for our opportunity for our players to have the same thing.
Adam Sparks.
Yeah, I've got a question for Candace and also the Chancellor. Candace, I'd asked Shea a minute ago about her availability. It's I think almost assumed over the years that you couldn't get Shea Ralph to leave UConn. What was your level of surprise when you found out this was the job that she was willing to leave to take?
I don't know if I would say surprise. I hope that we've shown that we don't have to settle. So, the worst thing is somebody's going to just tell me no. And so I didn't enter into it with surprise. I was delighted, but I think it's a job worth saying yes to. So I was glad she felt the same way.
And for Chancellor Diermeyer, the Vandy United thing just happened. How much have you understood, I guess, with the hiring of Clark Lee and the hiring of Shea Ralph, how much facilities can help move the program forward as far as personnel?
I think that what the key piece is that we're committed to excellence, and we're committed to building a program that supports our student athletes, that attracts the best student athletes to Vanderbilt, the best coaches, and puts them in an environment where they can succeed. Having the appropriate facilities is an important part of that, but it's not the only part. Having the right people is more important, I would say, or just as important. And of course, it helps to attract the right people if they have an environment where they can succeed. So the goal for us overall was to say, this is what we want to do. These are our goals. We're committed to getting there. Put the right people in place, create the right culture, and then provide an environment where they can succeed. That has been the approach and the plan from day one, and I'm so delighted that we have, Shea Ralph now joining us as part of this team.
Thanks.
Logan Hansen.
Hello, Coach. Congratulations. Obviously, Logan Hansen from BVM Sports. Coming from Connecticut, where there's a high push on recruiting, just what are you looking for in recruits, and what do you bring from UConn to help you with recruiting here at Vanderbilt?
Well, that's a perfect question after what was just said by Chancellor Dearmeyer. When I recruit, and this was the same at UConn, we're looking for excellence on and off the court. I don't think I have to make any changes coming to Vanderbilt. I'm looking for those players who have the drive and relentless effort to be excellent in everything they do, to want to grow, to have a passion for what they're doing, to be great teammates, to be coachable. All the things that I know I can't coach and that you need to be great and excellent in what you do, to have sustainability in that, that's what I'm going to recruit. Obviously, there has to be a level of talent, right? They have to be able to compete at this level. But those other intangible qualities are the most important for not only their growth, but for our growth as a program. I know and trust in my ability and my staff's ability to teach what we need to teach on the floor to make sure that we're winning basketball games. That's not going to be a problem, but we have to have the right people there. And if we have that, then the rest will take care of itself.
Thank you.
Joe Rexroad.
Yeah, kind of building off Kayla's question, Shea, on the SEC. Also, I just want to ask you about the game in general. What do you see right now with the sport after the fantastic tournament we just saw? More talent, more investment, coaching, all that. Where do you see the game right now? Where do you see it going?
Well, I mean, that was such an entertaining tournament, wasn't it? The parity in our sport, the level of play, the Cinderella stories, the coaching, the diversity that you're seeing in coaching. It's just been amazing. It was just an amazing 3 weeks. And I love that I'm part of it. And, where is it going? I think only up from here. I think we can continue to build on that. And right now, strike while the iron's hot. There's so much buzz around women's basketball and around women's sports in general. And hey, look, we can play. We can play basketball. And so that's what we're going to do here at Vanderbilt. We're going to put a product out on the floor that's not only fun to watch, but that is going to be able to be winning championships and at that level every year.
Robbie, go ahead.
Hey, for Candace, what factors, allowed you to make this hire so quickly?
That's a good question. That's a good question, Robbie. I did not, I mentioned earlier that I'm just trying to level set for the student athletes. I told them that I thought it would take a couple of weeks, and of course I was going to be deliberate and move as fast as I could, but I wanted to give myself time. I think I've continued to learn that, you always have your list, you have your short list, but then you also want to see what else is out there, and you want to be very, very diligent. I know every single hire is an important hire. It's a big deal for us. So I wanted to give myself time to be thorough, but I did go into the search knowing that, hoping that my gut would not fail me, hoping that it would be very clear, and that's what happened. And so it happened. I did not, I think it's important to say, last Tuesday was a tough day for a lot of people. And we spent Tuesday dealing with emotions and making sure our kids were okay. And I mean, nobody enters this community to lose. Nobody comes here not to compete at a high level. So when you have to make a change, that's challenging. And so Tuesday was about that, but Wednesday was about the search. And the reality is that it just didn't take as long as perhaps I thought. And we had some tremendous candidates. The fact that Shea sits before you, tremendous candidates, and she's the one for the job. And so it just so happened it only took 6 days to decide that.
Chris Harris.
Hi, Shea. Congrats on the job.
Thank you, Chris.
My question is, just after so many years of sustained excellence at UConn, what was so attractive about a rebuild for a program? And personally, was some of it maybe just to prove yourself as a leader?
Thank you for your question. I'm not really looking at it as a rebuild, more like a revitalization, because as we talked about before, we've seen that it can be done here. And I'm coming in here thinking that this is going to get done. And I'm just excited to be part of it because I think it's such an amazing opportunity. And obviously I'm going to have some growth as a leader that's going to have to take place, right? So, and I'm going to this understanding that. But the fact that I'm doing it with the people around me, to speak to what Candace was just saying, that's what made me confident, is talking to the chancellor, hearing his vision, not only for the school, which is already amazing, but also for the athletic department. And there was no difference. He wants us both to be excellent. And then speaking to Candace and her vision and her investment as a former player, speaking to everyone that I spoke to in the Vanderbilt community only made me more sure with each conversation that this can and will be done and that they won't let me fail. And I'm excited about that.
Simon Gibbs.
Sorry about that. I was muted. I actually just saw a report like a couple hours ago that your husband is joining the staff at Vanderbilt. Is that something you could comment on at the time or not yet?
Well, I did hire him as a full-time caretaker with my daughter right now. 24 hours a day he's going. No, we haven't made any decisions right now. I'm not ready to talk about that. We're really focused right now on just immersing myself in the community, meeting the team. Obviously, we're discussing, I'm discussing with Candace, that's we, who we're going to hire, who I'm going to hire and put in place because it's such an important decision for me. I understand as a new head coach, I need to make the right choice. And we talked about people before. Again, starts and ends with people for me. I'm not going to rush through this. I owe it to myself. I owe it to our student athletes, and I owe it to the university to make sure that the right people are in place. But we're going to do that sooner than later, and I do have a short list.
Robbie Weinstein, go ahead.
Yeah, Shea, I guess, of course it'll depend on personnel, but, maybe ideally like a couple of years down the road or whatever, what's your vision for the type of basketball that your team plays, like, especially offensively?
Right. Well, I mean, I love this style that I played and the style that I've been coaching for a lot of years. But there's also some other things that I want to try. A lot of what I'll do will probably depend on initially what we have on the floor. What I would love to do eventually is a motion style that also involves some smart, quick hit plays where we need to get a certain shot from a certain player. Something that's fun to watch. High scoring offense is what I love to be part of. So it's not going to be a drudgery. I like to score points. I think that's fun to play. I think it's fun to watch. So that's kind of my vision for our offense.
Joe Rexrode.
Sorry, I'm good. I just left my hand up. Sorry about that.